Hey, badass listeners, welcome back to Midlife Strategies for Badass Women. I am your host, Sue Willoughby, and today we have a very special guest, Megan Collier. She is the undisputed queen of UGC, and if you don't know what that means, stick around. Megan is a content creator who successfully replaced her six-figure marketing career in just 14 months by diving headfirst into, ready for this? User-generated content, UGC. Now she has taught over 14,000 people, 45 and above, how to do the exact same thing. In this episode, we talk about how to use your age, life experience, and current season of life as absolute superpowers to work with major brands. We cover how she accidentally turned her 60-something mom into a UGC star, the secret to landing local and national brand deals, and why companies are desperately craving your authentic voice in today's trust recession. So if you are ready to dive into UGC, let's get going. You're listening to Midlife Strategies for Badass Women, the no BS podcast for women over 40 who are sick of playing by someone else's rules. I'm your host, Sue Willoughby, badass midlife strategist, truth teller, and professional fire starter for midlife reinvention. Around here, we don't do fluff. We do real talk, bold strategies, and badass breakthroughs. Because midlife isn't a crisis, it's your damn power move. If you're all in, unapologetic, and ready to reinvent, let's get started. Hey, badass listeners, welcome back to another episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women. I'm Sue Willoughby, your host and chief strategist here. And today we have a really special guest. I hit her up on Instagram. I'm also one of her students, and she is the queen of UGC.
I love that start.
Right?
Queenie, you know,
UGC boss, the big boss of the UGC. All right. So I'm just going to bring her onto the show. Welcome, Megan Collier. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to talk to you about so many things.
Thanks for having me, Sue. I'm very excited as well. This is going to be great.
I know that you are just coming off the high of a big event, your first in-person event. But before we jump into that, there's probably a lot of people out there that don't know what the heck UGC is. So can you tell us what UGC is and how you personally got started in it before we get into like where you are now?
Yeah, of course. So UGC stands for User Generated Content. In a nutshell, all these companies that you see on social media, advertising, posting, all these companies need a bunch of content, and they don't always have an in-house person that creates it. They don't always want to work with influencers. So what they do is hire UGC creators like myself, and instead of you having to have followers and posting to your own socials, they just need a bunch of content. So we're creating user-generated content, sending it to these companies that hire us, and then they're taking it and using it for their own purposes.
Okay, that's pretty cool. How did you personally get started doing this?
Yes. In 2022, summer of 2022, I was mindlessly scrolling TikTok, like I think a lot of us do. And I was working a 9 to 5. And I just saw somebody talking about UGC, and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. I thought you had to have influencer status to work with brands and get brand deals. And so it piqued my curiosity. I looked into it a little bit more, and it was kind of brand new in 2022. Like there's so many people that do UGC now, and it's kind of exploded in both the brand side and creators getting into it. But it was kind of just getting started. There was a few people I was following, And I thought I could try this. And so I went all in. I remember like just gallivanting around our like super small dark apartment at the time, and I'm just like, I'm doing UGC after about 20 probably failed side hustles. And I just had a good feeling about it. It's just like one of those things. I just had a good feeling. I saw the need for it because I was working in marketing for a medical device company, so something totally unrelated to UGC, but I knew it made sense to me. So I dove in, created a simple portfolio using Canva, threw some videos up there. I just used like, I think the 2 first videos I did were cat treats that I was buying my 2 cats anyways. I think I was getting my oil change that day, and I'm like, ooh, I could go into Mud Bay, and I could, which is a pet store here in the Pacific Northwest, and I could go in there and like film myself getting treats and stuff like that. That sounds like a good idea. And so I did that, made a few other videos, threw it up on a portfolio, and I just started reaching out to brands. And a week and a half later, I got my first deal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think there's something to this. I think I can make some money. So yeah, it's been a while, 3.5, almost 4 years ago.
That is pretty cool. I love that you started with cat treats. So, funny story. I started a dog treat business many years ago, and Mud Bay was one of my first big customers, which is
Wow.
awesome. Yeah. So, I love them. They're a great company, and
Yeah.
they've continued to be a local favorite. Yes, the name of my company was Etta Says. Etta Says. She was my dog. Funny story around
Oh,
that, but I won't get into it. She was really funny. She was a little rescue pup, and yeah, so
oh
she
my
had her
gosh.
whole own line of special dog treats. So that was pretty funny. So funny
I
that you
love it.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
So you started out doing that, just kind of filming random things. And you see people, and it's gotten pretty sophisticated, let's face it, right? Where you said a lot of people now are coming into doing it. Probably some people are doing it better than others, you being one of those people. And what made you decide to start teaching people, which is why I really wanted you on the show, because you have a specific niche for who you like point your classes to, right? I mean, you teach people
Yeah.
how to be UGC creators. So how did that evolve? Because I think that's a pretty interesting story too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, well, people here, they find me on TikTok or, Instagram, and it's like a little bit random that a millennial, because I'm 35, right? Um, a millennial teaching a bunch of Gen Xers and boomers seems a little weird, but it's only if you don't know the story, so I'll share it really quick. So I was, I was doing UGC. Had actually just quit my job. It took me about 14 months to replace my full-time career, my marketing career. And then, yeah, I just started going all in. I had multiple retainer clients. And one day, I was on a call with this footwear company, Kuru Footwear, and I'd been wearing their shoes and everything. And I thought they were great. So I pitched them, and they loved the pitch. Just send them an email. I also sent them like a video pitch, which is something I teach to kind of stand out amidst all these other UGC creators. And they loved it so much, they got me on a call with 4 people on their marketing team. And during the call, they did not want to pay me anything. Actually, they were like, we're going to give you some shoes. And I'm like, I think I need more than shoes. And so it took me a little bit of convincing. They'd never worked with a UGC creator. And so at the end of the call, they were like, okay, we'll start with 3 videos. And I happened to mention that my mom, who's in her 60s, I'm like, yeah, my mom is the one that actually told me about you guys. And that's why we both wear your shoes. She's a nurse. She has plantar fasciitis as well. And they help with that. And they just like, I felt the energy on the Zoom call kind of shift to being them really, really excited. So they said, oh my gosh, like, do you think your mom could maybe be in one of the videos that you create for us? And I was like, obviously, yes, of course, my mom could be, like, she would totally be down. I already know she would be up for it. And so, they were so happy because they told me she's more part of our demographic. Like, we sell most of our shoes to people in their 50s and 60s. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I thought nothing about it besides texting my mom really quick and saying, hey, are you good to do this? And, so we ended the call. My mom and I did this video together, and it ended up being like one of their best performing ads. And it was also super fun, and I loved it. And I just went to my mom's house. I filmed it on an iPhone and a simple tripod, and we just had a really good time. And I started to, even just couple months later, I started to realize, I wonder why I don't see anybody around my mom's age pursuing UGC. Like, I was following so many UGC creators, all of them being in their 20s and 30s. And so I just thought that was kind of odd. And so I decided one day to post a video about it. I'm like, hey, just so you know, if you are 45 and over, there are brands that do want to work with you because you're part of their demographic. Long story short, it blew up, it went viral, and so many people were asking me, what the heck? What is UGC? I literally had no idea about this. I thought I was too old. I thought it was just for a bunch of Gen Zs and millennials. And they thought their age was going to be a negative factor for them. And this is still a comment. Like, every day I'm getting comments from people saying the same thing, even two and a half years later. And so, yeah, since then, I really haven't shut up about it is really it, Sue. Like, I have not shut up about it. And I am a massive, I guess, just like cheerleader, and also just become so obsessed with teaching people in that demographic that their age is such a superpower, because they've got life experiences, they have got wisdom, and they bring so much to the table, way more than a millennial like myself. So it's just been really, really, really cool to see so many people who previously thought they needed followers, but most of all thought they were gonna be like written off because of their age, to then get hired by so many companies because of their age and how they show up in this world. So it's been really cool.
I love that. I love that you're just like, "Oh, hey, mom, wanna, get on board?" So you turned your mom into a UGC creator, I think, right? Doesn't she have her own channel and her own brands and everything like that now?
Yeah. She's worked with some brands, and we're now like doing team UGC. So we're doing a lot of things together. We just are gonna be signing again with a cat litter company, and my mom's gonna be the only one in the videos, as has it been for like 3 or 4 months. They just wanted her because they were missing that demographic. But it's been so cool to be like, I do like the admin stuff and the creative strategy, and she helps me with that too a little bit, but she's on camera and she just kills it. She's amazing.
I love that. I think that's so cool. And, you are so right about women in a certain demographic, right? This is who I focus on, right? Women
Mhm.
in midlife, because a lot of women, when they hit midlife, they think, oh, I'm invisible. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to, my career is winding down. My kids are gone. My blah, 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 right? All
Yeah.
of this stuff. And now you're saying, no, there's other stuff that you can do. And, you know, women are looking for something to light them up. And like you said, they've got passions about certain things. They've got, their own interests. They've got a lot of life experience, and they can bring all that to be, and I would imagine, to be very authentic and very relatable,
Yes.
that they're
Well,
not
that's
just
the thing.
posers, and
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that I really try to hit home is, the thing about UGC, you can show up as the more you show up as yourself, and also whatever season you're in. Maybe you are some of my students preparing for a layoff, or already got laid off because of their age. They were aged out and
yeah.
experiencing ageism in the workplace. It's a massive thing happening right now, right? So I've just found it to be so beautiful for these women to discover, even though they've experienced negativity toward their age in the traditional workplace, they can come into this UGC space in the content creation world, and actually be welcomed with open arms, and be like, no, like, that's an advantage. Like, you having life experiences, you having all these decades of going through life, that is an advantage because you're more trustworthy. Like, there's millions and millions of women and men in this stage of life that makes you so relatable and also so trustworthy. And I talk a lot about like the fact that we're in a trust recession, right? Like,
Mhm.
a lot of
Really?
people I
Sorry.
know, right? I know, right? It's like every day we're hit with these things, and I think that why UGC has become so big for so many companies, and they're really focusing on pouring a ton of marketing budget into it, is because we're all kind of sick of the polished stuff. We're sick of people with these massive production studios and these perfect videos, that we're craving more human content, more content from regular everyday people that we can relate to and trust. And that's what I've seen just this blow up in this space.
That's pretty cool. And I think that that is probably part of the stigma is that, "Oh, I have to be thin and be" well, it's, because that's what the culture that we've created. You have to be a certain thing, and I love that you just said, "No, you just have to show up," and the more you show up as yourself, that authenticity is gonna come through, and the trust factor is huge. So give me
Right.
some examples of if somebody wanted to get started in UGC, what would they do? Like, how would they start a portfolio? I know you started with the cat treats. Is it just, like, something that you're interested in or what?
Yeah, that's usually how it starts. So, what I tell people and what I teach is, first of all, like most people are visual, I think. So, what I did and what I recommend is first, like, what is UGC? Like, I can tell you what it is, but seeing UGC example videos in videos that people have actually created, whether it was just you like an example or they're doing it for a brand. Look at people's portfolios. If you go to TikTok or Instagram right now and you type in UGC example video, there will be so many videos. Don't get sucked into all of them, but watch maybe like 10 of them and get a clear idea. 5 to 10 of them, get a clear idea of like, oh, okay, I get it. I've seen this a billion times. Most people have seen literally thousands of UGC
Mhm.
creators and UGC ads, but they just thought they were influencers or whatever. It's just scroll Facebook for 2 seconds and you'll see a UGC ad. So I think getting clear visually on what you're going to be doing is really the first step. And then once you get a clear idea, you're like, okay, I could do this because you can, even though it's going to be a learning curve. You can do this. And so once you decide that, one of the first things you're going to want to do is create a portfolio. Now, I still recommend beginners, especially, and like I know people, that have 6-figure businesses. I've recently switched to Squarespace, but 6-figure businesses, like in the UGC space, using simple Canva portfolios. It's very much acceptable. So if you go to Canva and type in website portfolio, you'll see a bunch. Choose one. And it doesn't need to be complicated, doesn't need to be super fancy, but the first videos that you're going to do are exactly what you said is in what I did, taking products from your own home and creating examples. And if you have no clue what to do, you can just literally walk around your house and go through your morning, through your evening. What are you using? Are you using a specific skincare routine? Are you putting collagen in your coffee every morning? Like what are you using on a day-to-day basis? Do you have pets? Are you giving them treats? Are you feeding them a specific food or giving them probiotics or whatever people are giving dogs these days, right? So you can do so much with what you have already. You don't need to go and buy something new, but creating video examples to then put in your portfolio, 4 or 5 example videos, is really all you need to get started with UGC and start connecting with companies.
That's pretty cool. You make it sound so easy. Now, I know so I know from doing audio and video production for a lot of my, corporate career, um, there's some tech and there's some editing involved and different
Yep.
shots, and, are there you know, because that can be intimidating,
Oh, yeah.
even somebody who knows what they're doing. But, there's a certain rhythm and a certain recipe I've seen with UGC content. Am I wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, it can go across the board, but yes, there, like, if I'm gonna get hired, which is most of the content I do now is for companies who want to hire me for ads.
Mhm.
So a 15-second Instagram reel that's just going to be posted on a random Tuesday about a product is going to be a little bit different than an ad video that's like 45 seconds directly selling to people, right? And that's why I always tell people, like, if you are a visual learner and you just really cannot get out of your head, like, what is this going to look like if I take, whatever it is, my morning coffee that I have, whatever, Nespresso or something. How do I create a video? Well, go and maybe look at what videos other people are doing around
Mm.
coffee UGC example videos I think it's so helpful to see what other people are doing and not necessarily copy, but replicate in your own way, especially in the beginning. Because in the beginning, I mean, I can't tell you how many people that have come into my world and they have never recorded themselves in their lives. That, like, my mom was a perfect example. She had never done anything like UGC, never filmed herself, did not know what CapCut was, did not have a TikTok, barely used Instagram because all she used it for was like sending reels to me and my sisters, right? So, so it was
Thanks,
like
Mom.
parenting reels, funny reels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. But it was, it was so new to her. She just had no clue. But being able to see what other people have done and just literally pick up her phone, slap it on a tripod, and just start recording and getting those motions. I just gave somebody an example today of like, it's like any sport. Like you could want to be great at tennis and watch 10,000 YouTube videos about tennis, but you're not going to get any better unless you literally go out on the court
Yeah.
and swing the racket, right? So it's the same thing with videoing yourself, with editing. There's tutorials left and right that you could watch, and you should watch them, but at a certain point, you just got to get that practice in.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So pick up your phone, go do some fun things. And yeah, I know I sent away for something recently and I got it in the mail and I'm like, oh, it's a perfect unboxing video. So I was like practicing with that. And
Love it.
I studied video production and I get all of that stuff. So sometimes I get a little too in my head about it and I'm like, oh, let's get all these details right. And I get a wide shot of this and a tight shot. Like it's not that
Because you have that
complicated.
background too,
Right.
it's
Which makes it worse, I think, in some.
yeah, sometimes it does. Because you're more of like a perfectionist, because you should be at this one level, I feel like. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I got to
Totally.
have this cut. I've got to have that cut. I've got to have this B-roll. Okay, now we're getting just a little techie here. So I love that. And can you tell me, I know that you just had your first in-person event. We were talking about that a little bit. Tell me what sparked that? Why did you want to have an in-person event? And you had
Oh
it here
my
in the Seattle area, so I love that and I missed it. Sorry.
I know.
Next time.
Next
Next
event, I
time.
want you there.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, one, and this will be a common theme for me going forward, is just community and connection. UGC can be, for probably over 90% of people, very lonely. I mean, as you know, like we're doing this, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's you turn it into a full-time thing, you're at your house, you're
Yeah.
filming by yourself, you're not doing much with other people, right? And so I just wanted to bring people together, and it was for students of my course. So I brought 100, like 100 of them flew out, and some local people drove in, and we just got together over the course of a couple days and got to know each other and learn together and ask questions that just can't be answered inside of a Facebook group. The energy was pretty off the charts, and it was so cool to just be able to support and serve people that need that in that in person, not just the learning, but just the connection of people that get what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. I think it's I think, like, after almost 4 years of doing UGC, my two brothers maybe sort of get what I do. So it's like it's very isolating. Like, you can't really, talk to people, talk to your family. They still think you're an influencer. It just is like, people don't get it. So being in the same physical space with people that get it was really really magical. It was amazing.
That's really cool. And I think too, your demographic, right? Our generation are people that connect on a person to person, level. It's not all about just being online and everything. And we know that the pandemic kind of shot everything like that in the foot, but it's still nice to have that community, that human connection, and like you said, share those ideas with other people that understand what you're talking about. And get out of your house. I mean, I spend a lot of time alone. I I live alone. I podcast alone, even though I'm talking to you right now. I spend a lot of time by myself, which is fine. I mean, I enjoy it, but at the same time, when you get out in a community and you're networking, it re-energizes you, I feel like.
100%. 100%. So special.
So I know that I don't know if you want to talk about this or not. You have something coming up you've been alluding to something coming up. Can you talk about it, or are you not quite there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yet? Okay.
Of course. I assume when this comes out, it'll be totally launched. So yeah, and that's why I said the community thing. So I'm in the middle of launching as of a couple days, um, a community that is the Next Chapter Creator Club, and that's why I've got this hat on.
Nice.
The I've just again, so focused on the community aspect. And what I had noticed because I have a Facebook group. So if people join
Mhm.
my course, they can also join the Facebook group, right? And they it's such a wonderful place. Like people are asking questions. It's one of my favorite places on the internet. But I noticed this pattern recently that people were like, "Hey, I'm from Kansas. I'm from, Dallas area. Who's here?" And things were getting lost in the mix, but people were craving that in-person connection. And so, with this club, I have city chapters that
Oh, cool.
everyone can join.
Mhm.
I launched it at the event. There's close to 70 people that signed up for this club at the event. And we've already had our first call. I'll be doing monthly calls to continue supporting and serving my students who need that extra help and just want to ask a question and get some answers. And then I'll also be doing pop-up workshops across the country and eventually the globe, so that I don't just have to do these one annual events here in Seattle for those that can't make it. My plan is to travel a little bit, meet up, whether it's just coffee while we're visiting family in California, with different city chapters there, or it's, planning an entire trip out to the East Coast and doing a pop-up workshop for those that can't make it all the way to the West Coast. So
Nice.
I'm really excited. Yeah.
So this is gonna be an online community?
Yep. There's an app.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
There's an app for that. Good.
Yeah.
And then within the app, you can be part of the larger community, right,
Yes.
as a whole, and then also either start or join, it sounds like, a local chapter or a local group so that you can then physically get together. Like I could join a one in my area, in the Seattle
Mhm.
area or something,
Mhm.
and then have local kind of meetups or something so you can see people in
Exactly.
person. Yeah.
Exactly. So
That's cool.
there's yeah, the nearest large city. So for us, it would be Seattle,
Mhm.
and then it would be different meetups around the Seattle area. So we got people all over the Seattle area. And so planning meetups, planning maybe there is like a co-working space that we could all go and work on things. And that's one of the things that was so powerful at this first event. We did something called a power hour. So I just took like an hour out of the day. We had a list of things that we could work on that we had already learned that day during the Saturday event. And people just worked on stuff and they were able to leave the event with things that they actually got done instead of just going, like I'm sure you've experienced going to these things. You feel so inspired and everything. Oh, you got a whole checklist and then nothing gets done because
Yeah.
that momentum is gone. And that's like the opposite of what I wanted. And so it was really validating to see how much work got done in that power hour. And that's kind of what I want to replicate with these city chapters, whether I'm there or not, is just that collaboration. And another thing is that I think naturally what's going to happen with in-person like meetups and get-togethers, whether it's coffee, dinner, whatever, is sharing contact information of different brands they've worked with. Local UGC is huge, and there's a lot of people who haven't tapped into that. And I think a lot of local businesses want, whether they know it or not, want these creators working together to create content for them. So there's so much potential, and that's one thing I'm really excited about this club.
That's pretty cool. I like the idea of having kind of the local thing. So I am in the process of, well, I've already created it as a course to teach people podcasting as a marketing tool.
Oh yeah.
And especially because I've got over a decade of experience in real estate agents having their own podcast. Not that they don't need a national level podcast, but to be the local authority and connect with all of the local businesses and the local community leaders and all of that stuff. It's really powerful and it puts them in a position of authority and building trust and all the things. So I totally get that. I think that
Oh, I'm
that's
so
brilliant.
excited for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so needed, I feel like, and I think so many people don't quite make that connection, especially with the local thing. It's like, you have to work with all these brands, whether it's podcasting or whatever. It's no, like there's so much opportunity here in whatever city or town you live in.
Yeah.
It's all content, right? That we're all that's always what I try to remind people, because at a like very high level, we talk about all these like nitty-gritty things, a portfolio and everything, but at the end of the day, you're just providing a service that is so
Mhm.
needed right now, because every single business is on social media, or they want to be on social media because it's a necessity. They are getting most of their customers and being able to turn on the lights tomorrow because of social media. And if they need to be on social media, they need content, and you're
Right.
just the one providing it for them. So I
Yeah.
think it's important for people to remember, like, the overall, that's what we're doing, even though there's a lot of nitty gritty details.
Yeah, and as a content creator, I mean, it's a lot of work. And so
Yeah.
if you're already running a brick and mortar business or even a small digital business or whatever it is, a local business, you got your hands full. Let's
Oh, yeah.
face it. I mean, you've got, like you said, keeping the lights on, serving your customers and whatever. And maybe you can't pay that much for a UGC, you know what I mean? Like you would, but what are you going to do? Are you going to go out and get, some PR agency or some other brand, big brand representation? You can't afford that either. So it's, you're like between a rock and a hard place. Like, well, I could do this UGC stuff myself, I guess, but it,
Yeah.
it, it helps to have somebody else helping you with that. And so I think that's cool. I hadn't really thought about UGC being more localized, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So as a creator, how, like you said, you've got your portfolio. How do you, like you said, people think that, you're an influencer or you're whatever. How do you start to get recognized? Because as you said yourself at the beginning, the UGC is getting a little bit more a little bit more, there's a lot more people coming into the space, providing UGC. How do you get noticed? Just like anything. I mean, let's face it, social media is a huge void. It's a
Yeah.
huge market, right? There's lots of people out there shouting into the void. So how do you get some traction, honestly?
Yeah, so there are so many ways. I'll tell you my two ways that I, from the beginning, have gotten, and now up until almost 4 years, have gotten the most deals and worked with brands. Is number one, I pitched a lot, and I still pitch. So every time, and this is something tangible that listeners can do actually today, is go to Instagram. If you're on Instagram, go to Instagram and just pay attention to the ads that are showing up, because Facebook and Meta knows us so well. They're stalking everything we're doing, right? They know us very, very well. They know if we're married, how much money we probably make. They know if we have a garden, if we have pets, if we have kids. They know so much about us, which is creepy, but also a good thing in this case, because then we can go and we can be on Instagram and we can see the companies that are targeting us, our specific demographic.
Huh.
So let's say that you hop on Instagram and you see, oh gosh, I don't even know, like one of those sauna blankets. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's a blanket
The
sauna.
red
It's
light kind of things. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like anything like that. That company has specifically spent money to get in front of your eyes. So
Uh,
you are their demographic. They're also spending money on ads, which is another green light because they have a marketing budget. So that, like at the beginning, I still do this, but I either like save those ads or I screenshot it so I can see the company. Um, and that will get your creative juices flowing of who you can reach out to. If they're already looking, if they're already trying to reach you, it's likely. Also, if it's a random person in these ads for a sauna blanket, for example, that's a UGC creator. They're already doing UGC. They're already hiring UGC creators. So that's another green light. So you kind of check off mentally all these things as you're scrolling social media. And that could start to become like this Rolodex of companies that you could potentially reach out to. And by reach out, I just mean either start the conversation in an Instagram DM. I've landed several deals that way. And really with the goal of Instagram DM pitching, it's getting the contact information for the right person who does hire UGC creators. So it's not usually depending on the company. It's usually a customer service person, right? That's handling these DMs, these questions, and you just want the email contact of whoever handles their content creators, their
huh.
partnerships. And so, I've done that, but also email pitching. A lot of these brands are getting dozens of emails a day. So one of the strategies that I've used for several years has been sending video pitches to stand out. So, and I mentioned I did that with Kuru Footwear, and it got me on a call with their marketing team. And this happens a lot. Like, most UGC creators are not going to take the time, even though it takes the same amount of time to send an email as opposed to a video pitch. Most people just aren't going to do it because they feel weird about it, or they're just like, is that necessary? But you will set yourself apart from all the other pitches that have no video in them. And video pitches is really just what you would say in an email. Hey, I'm Megan. I'm a UGC creator based in Seattle. I saw your guys' ad while scrolling. I think I could create some great UGC for you. Here's an idea I have. And you can share like any idea. You could even ask AI. If you have no ideas and you're like, can't get this going, you can ask Claude or ChatGPT, which is fine. So yeah, that's what I've done from the beginning is pitching. When I started in 2022, I didn't think there was any other way. Like, there was not all these apps and platforms and UGC agencies because it was so new. I just thought, okay, I want to work with companies. How do I get a hold of people that are the decision makers? And so I just thought, okay, I'll just email a bunch of companies. And it worked. And I still pitch. Most of the time I get a no. And that's the thing that most people are maybe prepared for, or they feel weird about. I get way more no's than yeses. The thing about UGC is it's like a company could be hiring UGC creators last week, and then this week they're like, oh, we're at our max. Like, we're good. We've got all the creatives we need. Reach back out next quarter or next month or something. So it's always evolving. It's always changing depending on what their content needs are. So be okay with getting no's and just wish them well and follow up in a month or two.
Yeah, keep a spreadsheet of who you've
Yeah. Yeah.
contacted. Like you said, it's not a hard no, it's just like, not right
Yes.
now, and
Yes.
that's fine.
Exactly. And I've had, I pitched to this one supplement company I've been a customer of for like 4 years. And this was like, let's just say it was, I think, September or something. And I pitched them. I even created a whole Google Doc. I created a video. It was a whole pitch because I was like, I want to work with them. I love them so much. And so I did that thinking it was going to be an easy yes for them. And I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag. They got back and they're like, no, sorry, like, we're good. And I'm like, that's
What?
weird. Okay.
Rude.
So let me restate what I said already. And so I pitched them basically again, and they're like, no, really, like, we're good on content, whatever. I was like, okay, cool. I'll leave them alone. And then 5 or 6 months later, I gave them ideas of like what videos I wanted to do. And literally 5 or 6 months later, I got an email from them, said, hey, just wanted to reach back out. We're ready to work with you now. And I was like, oh, amazing. Great.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? They're like, we love the concepts you shared with us, whenever it was 6 months ago. Just go with those and tell us what your rate is. I told them a rate that made me uncomfortable, and they said immediate yes. And it ended up making, me a lot of money. I got to do it with my mom. It was so great. But you just never know. Like, you never know when you reach out to a company. The timing could be perfect, could be a little bit off, or it could be the next month or two that they want to work with you. So the pitching thing is great. There's also, like I said, now fast forwarding to 2026, there's apps, there's platforms, there's agencies. There's so many ways to connect with brands, and everyone's going to be so different in what they want to do. I'm not personally on apps. I'm not on Fiverr, which is another option. But, I think everyone kind of finds what they like and the way that they like to communicate with companies and where they see a lot of traction. So it's good that there's a lot of options, but it also overwhelms people. So I always tell people, like, okay, just start with maybe 1 or 2 apps or platforms. And then also, what can you do pitching wise? Do you have time to pitch to 10 brands this week? Okay, make that a goal and just make it happen. And kind of spreading yourself out a little bit while focusing and not getting all crazy on like 20 different platforms is usually the smart move.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm actually affiliate on a couple of things, and I noticed that the affiliate programs that they have, people have reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you wanna pitch our, whatever stuff?" So every once in a while and I'm like, "No, I really don't wanna represent that, so thanks for
Yeah, and that's
asking."
a great yeah, you can always say no, that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Or, "Well, maybe, but no, thank you." Uh,
Yeah,
because I think there's a fine line with doing it for the money and doing it because you actually believe in it, and, you wanna represent products and services that you feel good about.
yeah,
Because it's your face out there. Because if
yep.
somebody sees your face and they're like, "I saw you pitching XYZ, what the heck?" You're like, "Well, yeah, that was a low moment in my week." So
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
that's so cool. Well, all right. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, so much good information for people. Um, I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of your course because I think it's fabulous. You've got a lot of amazing information in there, and you really are a really good instructor, and
Thank you.
you're a really good teacher, and it's obvious that you care about the people that you're instructing, and you care about UGC. It just comes through in the way you present yourself and all of the things because that makes a big deal. You're not just out there going, "Yeah, well, and then you do this, and then you do that." No, you're passionate about it clearly. And your teaching style is also very good and very relatable. So,
Thank you,
how
Sue.
can yeah, you're welcome. How can people find your course? How can they, work with you? W Let's see, when this comes out, I would love to include some information about your new communities and how they can join in your community, but where would people start?
Yeah, you can find me on I'm most active on TikTok and Instagram. I'm at Megan_UGC. And I try to go live on TikTok to also answer questions. I know it can be a very intimidating thing to get into, so you can find me there. But yeah, I my course is linked in all my social media, and yeah, I'd love to have anybody who's just wanting to pursue this. I appreciate everything you say because I really do care, and the huge reason why I care so much is because it changed my life, and every day I get to see people's lives change, like people that have completely done a 180 on their life and found this new not only revenue stream because we all need money, right? And we all need to pay the bills, and it's a great way to make money, but it's also such a great way to find more joy and purpose, which is kind of the whole point in life. So it's been really cool to see so many people step into this and have so much more joy. So yeah, I'd love to have anyone in there. And then the club that I mentioned that's getting launched this week is going to be for students only. So would love to have you if it feels right. Join the club if you want more community and
Join the
connection.
club. I love it. Join the local, chapter.
Yes.
That's very cool. Thank you so much for being on the show. I know that you're extremely busy, so thank you for getting back to me so quickly. Thank you for giving me a big yes on that because that really was like I was excited, and I love your energy, and I love the energy that you bring to your work, and I can feel that it is going to be really infectious. So thank you so much for doing what you do, and thank you for giving people opportunities to reinvent themselves or to pursue their passions and do something that's actually going to light them up. Because I think it's really hard when we get to a certain point in our lives. We're like, what am I going to do now? And you have a separate Instagram that is centered around this next chapter,
Yeah.
the club and the community thing. And it's testimonials and stuff from your live event. So that in and of itself, if you don't do anything else, go watch those because it's really inspirational to see people up there talking on the mic and talking about their experience with Megan live in Seattle. So there you have it.
Thank
There's
you,
my
Sue. I
pitch,
appreciate
right?
it. I know, right? Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't have to say anything else. I love it. I really appreciate that.
But
Thank you.
seriously, Megan, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for bringing the energy. Thank you for bringing the heart. And this is Sue Willoughby that's a wrap for this show. I mean, we covered a lot of ground in a short period of time. We just, Megan's got a lot of energy, so you got to try and keep up with her. But thank you so much for being on the show. If this is something that resonated with you, or you know somebody that it will resonate with, share this episode with a friend. Go check out Megan's stuff. She's got a great course. Join the community. And Megan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Sue. It was super fun.
All right. I'll see y'all next week on another episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women.
Hi, my name is Adam Shibley. I'm the host of Podcasting Business School, and I am the creator of the Podcast Growth Coach Certification Program. And today I'm here to brag on my newest certified podcast growth coach, Sue Willoughby. Sue has really excelled as she's gone through the certification process, which was not easy, by the way. She completed all the homework. She did all the testing. She even did a one-on-one final exam with me. And I was just continuously impressed from week to week, the improvement that she made. I'm really impressed at the creativity that she displayed, but also her ability to effectively communicate and coach people. So if you're somebody who feels like your podcast could use a little bit of a pick-me-up, you feel a little bit stuck with your download growth, or maybe in need of a rebrand, I highly, highly, highly recommend talking to Sue and talking about getting her help with your podcast growth.